Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, and welcome to Body and Soul Awareness with Stephanie and Oxana. Here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Steph.
Hello there, Oxana.
Hi. How are you?
Doing wonderful.
Hello, our guest.
So glad to be with you guys tonight. We're going to have a great show. We have an awesome special guest that we're going to get on here shortly. But first, let's talk about last week's homework. Did you do the homework, Oxana?
I did. I was a good girl.
Okay, what was your experience?
So the homework, just to remind everyone, was to do a holistic natural body scrub. And what I did, I had a combination of green tea, olive oil, and avocado scrub. And my week has been very, it was a good week, but I pretty much had a good use out of the scrub. With all the technology being very strange this week, I definitely had to be extra patient, and I've found myself, needing some extra downtime this week. So by scrubbing myself, all the things I didn't need and all the things I wanted to bring, it did me well. So I definitely used it well, and I enjoyed it, and I hope everyone else who listened as well. So, how about you, Steph?
Yeah, that homework was easy. I was actually happy to have to do that homework.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, I have a lot of things that I needed to release that I've been working on for a while, so I put a lot of intention on releasing those things. And then, more importantly, I think was at the end when I put my body butter on was the nourishing and the bringing in of the things that you do want and trying to manifest and put into the universe the things that you do want going forward. That was the most important part for me, and it was really good. I used one of my coffee body scrubs, very invigorating and yummy. It's just sugar and coffee. You can make it really easy at home with some olive oil. But it was good.
I think I've had it. I think I've had your scrub.
The morning coffee body scrub is really amazing. Definitely.
Yeah, coffee scrub. I have yours. Yeah, I've had yours before. Yeah.
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 So how was your week?
That's great.
How did Mercury affect you?
It was.
Any good stories?
Well, I've had a hiccup with my system at work. I think midweek. I think Thursday. So there was one task that I was planning on finishing up by last Friday, and I still haven't finished it. I was thrown around by this system, and they had to fix it. I had to wait. So everything was just much slower in regards to technology for me. And even though I already expected it and I already kind of was okay with that, and in general, if anything is wrong with technology, you still, you have to be more relaxed. But I've had couple of deadlines that I had to finish, and luckily the date for my completion got extended due to completion date on a bigger side of the project. So I have extra time. It kind of works. So if we're going to be speaking of Mercury kind of, situated my work-related tasks in a position where it was delayed, but at the same time, it pushed the dates to deliver it by which, on a big scale. So it kind of worked out.
Well, look at
so
that.
Other than that, what about you? Anything?
I did. I had a very interesting Mercury situation that I'm still working on, kind of figuring out how I'm going to respond to it, because knowing that it's Mercury retrograde, knowing that communications can be off around this time, I just want to make sure that I handle the situation the right way and make sure that what I'm really trying to say is exactly what comes out. So, I'm working through that. I'll let you know how that goes. I might wait until after the 22nd to respond, though. I'm not sure.
Well, you have a few weeks.
Just in case.
You have a week. Yeah, you have a week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe I
it's
can
been
just hold off for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's a good idea, especially if it's something that may be taken not the way you intended to take. Or especially if it's over technology, imagine that,
Exactly. So there you have communication over technology, and those are the two things that Mercury rules. But So anyway, to remind everyone that you can call in if you want to talk to us or the special guest when she comes on in a little bit. The guest call-in number is 347-324. 3704. And if you want to chat with us live, you can go to www.freedomizerradio.com, and you can sign into the chat there and talk with us there.
Yeah.
Okay?
That sounds
so, all right.
Just call us.
I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm super excited for our special guest. This week's special guest is Dr. Jill Diaz. Dr. Jill's passion is pediatric, prenatal, and postpartum chiropractic. Her approach to treatment is to find the underlying cause of the problem, keeping her patient's best interests in mind. She not only treats the symptoms, but will also work with you to prevent problems from occurring in the future. Each treatment program is designed specifically for the individual. She finds it especially important to help patients improve their overall health with spinal adjustments, nutrition counseling, exercise, and stretching instruction. She will take the extra time with patients to reduce pain with muscle and soft tissue massage. Jill is currently the only chiropractor in the Manassas area that is specially trained to work with pregnant women and children. Jill also has special interest in working with infertility and other women's issues. Dr. Jill resides in Manassas, Virginia with her husband, Dr. Manuel, their daughter, Elizabeth, and their other daughter, Alexandria, and her Cocker Spaniel, Bailey. Dr. Jill enjoys running triathlons and spending time with her family. So, guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of my personal history with Jill because she's super awesome. I'm so excited that she's with us tonight. She was actually the chiropractor that I had. I started probably around my 7th month of pregnancy coming to see her. She was referred to me by my doula that was on a couple weeks ago, Amy. And I was like, all right, I don't know about this whole chiropractic thing. I'm pregnant. I wasn't in a car accident. What do I need a chiropractor for, right? And so I was like, all right, cool. It was a different way to look at things. There was no medication involved. You know how I like that. And I was like, you know what? It can't be so bad. Let me go try it out. So I went in there, and it was the best thing that I did, not only for the last trimester of my pregnancy, like the entire last trimester. He was kicking my ribs out of place. His knee was always in a funny position. I was always off just because I was so big and waddling everywhere, and I was laying in weird positions. But it was so nice every time after I had an adjustment. She just kind of put everything back into place where it was supposed to be. So I would like to introduce Dr. Jill.
Hi.
She's here in studio with us. Thank you so
Hi,
much
Jill.
for coming on. Hello. Yes, thanks for having me.
Jill. How are you?
Good. How are
Okay.
you? Thank you.
I'm excited. I'm excited to speak with you.
Good. So
Get all the
right.
all the young information out of you.
Oh yeah,
And
boy, you have tons of awesome information. I remember every time I was in the office, I swear I would kill at least 10 extra minutes just chatting about all this cool, like, pregnancy and new mommy and baby stuff. But anyways, I want to get into,
Well, I was going to say, it just came to my mind. We have so many natural ways of addressing our, chronic issues or not chronic, and we just automatically go to the pill. So that's, I was just thinking when you were reading about Jill, how it's amazing how we have all this information and it's open and available to us through people. And, if we could just live in such a wonderful exchange of abundant information without, and of course I'm going forward more with the money thing because I'm not supporting of that, but, because we know that the medical field, Western medical field is mainly due to money, but there's so much beauty in just a natural way of healing ourselves and not going to that side. So
I'm glad you said that. That's a really good point. I think a lot of people, the reason that automatically they go to a doctor is just because it's what they've always done. They don't know anything.
Right.
Because mom took them to the doctor, so when they get sick, they go to the doctor, and then when they have kids, they take them to the doctor, and then the kids grow up, and they take their kids to the doctor. And it's this cycle of not consciously doing things. You're literally just doing what you're told, and it's kind of a little bit of a herd mentality, but that's okay because that's why we're here. We're here to bring awareness to people to let there are other things that you can do, right? Yeah. So, Jill, can you tell us a little bit about what chiropractic is? What does it mean to go to a chiropractor, to be a chiropractor?
All right. So the most simplistic way of describing what chiropractic is essentially we're helping your body function optimally. We don't cure, we don't treat, we allow your body to heal it and do what it needs to do to fix itself. We don't have the pills like, well, here's a pill for this and here's a pill for that. We want your body to function, and the way we help that is that your brain stem, spinal cord, it's all encased, very, very wonderfully made. The spinal cord specifically is by your vertebrae, and so if there's any sort of restriction within that spinal cord and in that vertebrae, it allows your body to not function properly. So you have, every single thing in your body is controlled by your nervous system, your heart, all the way down, your skin, every single thing. And so anytime there's that misalignment or just a lack of function within those joints, your body's not giving the full amount of nerve energy. And so chiropractor, all we do is we're opening up all that and making everything function optimally so that your body can heal itself without any other intervention.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I know that people specialize in certain areas of chiropractic, right?
Yes.
So you specialize in the pediatric, prenatal, postpartum, all that.
Yes.
But I know, like, your husband, he adjusts my son every time he hurts his ankle, which is very often, unfortunately. But anyway, so I know there's, like, different areas. So did you have to do special training
Yes.
For that, how does that work?
So I did my special training through the ICPA, which is the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association.
Okay.
I did most of mine while I was in school, and I've been in the last few years doing a couple each summer as well, trying to get more and more knowledge. My husband he's more of a general chiropractic. He does a lot of car accidents. He does a lot of sports injuries, stuff like that. But he leaves kind of the pregnancy to me. Any chiropractor will say that they can treat a pregnant woman. The thing is I have well over 200, probably closer to 300 extra additional hours of training when it comes to pediatric and pregnancy. Whereas some doctors, if you ask them how do you know how to treat a pregnant woman, if their response is, I treated my wife while she was pregnant, that's not a good specialization. You wouldn't ask your general, your pediatrician, your primary care provider if they would deliver your baby.
Right.
They've all been trained. They all do a rotation. But you would never ask that.
Yeah, but haven't the people in the ambulance who's trained to deliver a baby?
Exactly. So just call the ambulance and have a baby. And so when you look at chiropractors, you want to find someone who is specially trained. And depending on what part of the U.S. you're in, or if you're in another country, that might be a little bit harder. You may get a lot of them saying, "Well, I treat pregnant women," but finding someone who's specialized in it is great. Definitely makes quite a bit of difference.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of go into pregnancy chiropractic is a little bit different than just our general chiropractic. And the reason why is we're really looking at the pelvis. A lot of concentration is on the pelvis. Mm-hmm. We got to get a baby out, and that's the preferred way, is down and out your pelvis. So if that pelvis is locked in any way, that baby's just going to have a little bit harder time or may not ever be able to actually go through. And so, Stephanie, when you came, we did exercises along with the assessment.
I was telling everybody about that last week, the ABCs on the ball.
The best thing,
yeah.
that's actually really great when you're not pregnant. Like, if you have low back pain,
yep.
get on the disability ball, do your ABCs. It's amazing how much that really just helps with kind of just getting everything kind of looser. But in pregnancy, it's so important because we need to keep everything moving. And you could come to the chiropractor daily when you're pregnant. Some will probably come twice a day if you let them.
I definitely. If I could have afforded that, I definitely would.
But yeah, keep doing the exercises to keep that pelvis open so that when the baby does come, that pelvis is opening and moving. Again, our bodies are so magical. They know exactly when the inlet needs to open and when the outlet needs to open. And if that's restricted, that's not going to work. And that's when you see the C-sections and back even probably 30 years ago, we didn't sit as much as we do now. And so 30 years ago, less C-sections, less complications with pregnancy, maybe not as much of a need as now. Now every single woman sits a majority of their day.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you have a very physically demanding job, we just don't see those.
You still sit in traffic. Yeah, you still sit in traffic for 2 hours.
Especially in Northern Virginia. Everyone sits in the car for at least a good hour.
Oh, yeah.
And so what that's causing is it's causing our hips to lock up in, really weird ways. And if that baby can't come down because there's no opening, that baby's not going to come down. Right. Baby's going to avoid it. And so I'll actually see, an increase in C-sections because babies aren't engaging.
Right.
Women are going 42 weeks and baby's not engaging. It could rely on the fact that there's no opening for that baby to come down.
Right.
Through. So.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because Jill is actually the person that helped me, help get my body in alignment to help the baby come out because I was late by about a week, and maybe a little bit less than a week, and I went to the acupuncturist, and he did his little treatment, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to have a baby, and contractions started, and they were going hard until 1 o'clock in the morning, and nothing. It just stopped. And I was like, wait, what happened? I was so prepared. I had everybody filling up the water tub. It was time. and nothing happened. So then I waited a few days, and I was like, all right, time for you to come out, kid. And so then I talked to Amy, my doula, and she was like, why don't you go see Jill? And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I went to go see Jill, and she adjusted me at, like, I think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and then at 6 o'clock at night, 6:22, I had a baby in my arms. So it definitely helped my hips get into place. But I like that you said leading up to it, doing the exercises and keeping everything open and mobile. So not just like the day of, but on the way leading up, you need to make sure that you're doing all of those mobility exercises just to kind of help. What would you say? Make sure that your hips go or your pelvis goes into every position that it can possibly go in. That's what the ABCs are for.
Yeah, and it's really key is to not just come when you're 42 weeks, come to the chiropractor and say, can you start my labor? Unfortunately, it doesn't usually work that way. Right. I haven't set too many women into labor, so there's no magical button or anything like that I can push. But leading up to the start of the pregnancy, not waiting until you're in pain or waiting until the last 2 weeks and then wondering why your baby's not coming. It really is. It's from the start of your pregnancy. It's a maintenance care of that you want to be well. It's more wellness care. That you just want to make sure that body is ready and that everything is smooth to go. And women that go see a chiropractor, they usually have faster labors, easier labors, less pain in their labor. And again, that's not coming the day before they want to have the baby. It's the leading up to it, the couple of months worth of once a week.
Doing the preventative care.
And so that gives me time to really work out anything that we have any restrictions. And it can be non-structural, restrictions as well. There can be round ligaments are well known with pregnant women causing problems. It can be ligaments that's causing it. It can be muscles that's causing it. Pelvic floor is an extraordinary thing. But if you have something wrong with your pelvic floor, it can cause a lot of issues when it comes to childbirth. And so having that stuff worked out beforehand is essential.
Okay. Good. So, I'm glad you mentioned the round ligament pain too, because that was one of the most miserable parts, outside of the fact that he was kicking my rib out of place, like literally. We're going to have to come toward the end like 2 times a week because he kept on kicking my rib out of place. And he did it on the way out too. He was like, one more time, for all the time, right? But that part was so amazing. After all you did was like a few little, I don't even know what you did. You did some stretching and movement. Yeah. And that really made a big difference in my pain toward the end. So.
Round ligament is actually one of the things that brought me into pregnancy chiropractic. When I started, I was going through the seminar series for pediatrics and pregnancy, and I was like, I'm doing sports chiropractic. Like I studied athletic training in undergrad, and that's really where my focus was. I was kind of doing this on the side to, make me more well-rounded. And with my daughter, I was 19 weeks pregnant, and I thought I was either dying or I was having a baby. Oh, yeah. And it was miserable, and it was absolutely insane. And I had been getting adjusted, but not by anybody who specialized, was working on my round ligaments or anything like that. A few adjustments and some work on my round ligaments. And my pregnancy was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. At 19 weeks, I would have told you, I am never going to be pregnant again. This is horrible. I'm never doing this. And a few adjustments, and like I said, working on my round ligaments. And I had the most amazing pregnancy. I was 41 and a half weeks and sad that I went into labor.
Oh, wow.
And never heard that before, ever. I have a good time being pregnant as long as I stay adjusted and keep up with my therapies and stuff. And once I kind of realized that pregnancy chiropractic is what made my pregnancy so amazing, that I decided, that was maybe more what I needed to lean towards. And I see a lot of moms, they come in with sciatic pain, and, a lot of times the OBs tell them, well, it'll go away when the baby comes, and round ligament is like notorious for that. As soon as you have the babies, and the round ligament pain will go away. And it's unfortunate that women are in pain their entire pregnancies. Mine is 18, 19 weeks. I could not imagine going the rest of my pregnancy in that much pain. So I had another one is, oh, the baby's pushing on it, so you'll just have to wait till the baby comes out. And a lot of times it doesn't work that way either. The, pubic bone pain doesn't go away just because you have the baby. You still have, scar tissue, and you have inflammation down in that joint that you have to work with, and you're caring for a newborn. So,
which is a whole nother set of issues.
Yes. Yes.
I know, like, my neck and my shoulders are always off now because I'm constantly holding him. And he's sweating like that. Yeah, and leaning over to feed him, and he's like an extra 17 pounds while I try to do everything else with the other hand.
Yes. It's good to keep coming after, and you've done a pretty good job of keeping up after having the baby.
Yeah.
Just because you have the baby again doesn't mean everything just goes back to where it should be and everything's magical. You still need some therapy, while that relaxing kind of coming out of your system, kind of make sure everything stays where it should. Right. And we can work on any issues that maybe are bothering you, breastfeeding,
right?
Pain in that upper back, and it's, some adjustments, some stretches, and some therapy can really do wonders and make it a easier process. Breastfeeding, while it's amazing, it's not always the easiest thing. And so sometimes, taking care of things like that could be causing the mom problems will really make that a better experience for everybody.
Oh, yeah. That's so true. I can say that's a personal experience, because last week I just got an adjustment, and I felt so much better, like, immediately after. It was so good. I was like, still, why didn't I come see you sooner? But, okay, great. So I guess we have a few more minutes before we go to the commercial. Oxana, did you have any questions about chiropractic in general?
Well, yes, I have in general, but also maybe we can go into steps like what a person needs to do first when they decided they want to try that. Because, for example, I haven't tried chiropractic treatments yet. I've done acupuncture, and it highly benefited to my situation. I've never done chiropractic treatment, but for example, what would I do, to familiarize myself? What will it help for certain situation that I need, or certain thing that I need to fix, and what do I do about it? Like, how do I find the right chiropractor?
One way to find a chiropractor for pregnancy specifically, you can go, it's ICPA4kids.org, and that will take you to find someone who's actually trained with the ICPA. So that's one way. Another way is just call who's in town and ask, does the doctor deal with this? Ask your mommy groups. Mommy groups are amazing, and they're very loyal. And if they love you, they will shout you from the rooftops. Mm-hmm. And if they don't feel like you're very good, they'll let you know that too. But just asking your chiropractor just simple questions. What type of adjusting do you do? There's so many different types of adjusting. And if you have questions, most chiropractors will allow a free consultation. You can come in and you can talk to them, and they can show you what they would do to adjust. I would much rather somebody come in and just ask them questions and not even get adjusted than to just never come in. So ask them questions, ask them, to calm any fears that you do have. A lot of people have fears going to the chiropractor. Like Stephanie said, you're pregnant and you want to be safe and you're protecting that baby, and it's such a, seen as very fragile time in our lives, and you want to make sure that who's working on you knows what they're doing. And ask them questions. If they're not on a special website, look at their bio, see what different types of techniques they do, and just ask them questions. Most will email you back, or they'll call you, or they'll sit down with you, and they can answer your questions and help see if they're the right chiropractor for you.
Yeah. Right. Well, because typically I use word of mouth.
Yeah.
I would go to someone who either my friends already went to, or I know from other sources that I know that they know what they're doing.
Yes. Yeah, it's like I said, moms groups, and they're all over Facebook at this point. you can find 20 local Facebook pages that have moms in it, and you may get a couple of different responses, but that could just give you options. Like I said,
am I looking for specific certification, or it doesn't need to be, or what are the requirements, I guess, that they know the body structure and what to move and manipulate?
If you're pregnant, you're looking for specifically someone who's certified with one of the pregnancy is ICPA, which is the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, and then there's also ICA, which is the International Chiropractic Association. Those are the only two that offer any certification. And again, check out the doctor's bios. If they want you to know that they're specialized in pregnancy, they will have it on their bio. Because they want everyone to know that they are the ones that are specialized in it. Pretty much any chiropractor say, yes, I treat a pregnant mom. It's just whether or not they're actually certified in it. If you're just looking for general chiropractic, though, there's different techniques, there's different schools, and it really just depends on what you really fit. And that being said, you may find a chiropractor who is great, has all these extra certifications, it just might not be the best chiropractor for you. So sometimes, if your first experience with a chiropractor is bad, don't be afraid to try a second. It might just be a different technique that you need. There's manual, manipulations where I actually adjust with my hands, and then there's also types of adjustments that you can use, like a small tool called an activator adjuster. It just got to find what works best for you. And like I said, don't be afraid if the first one isn't really to your pleasure. Go down, go to the next one. Find someone. It's no different than any other doctor. If you don't like the doctor's bedside manner, you're not going to stick with that doctor. Don't be afraid to find a new practitioner that can better help you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, well, all right, guys, it is time for a commercial break, so we will be back with you shortly.
Did you see this? The EPA wants to regulate water in our ditches now. Our ditches are dry most of the time. There's hardly ever any water in them. That's enough.
Water flowing, but the government doesn't care. Once more the EPA is knocking at our door. With a brand new rule, they want to regulate us more. They've tried before and we said no. Why should they control what doesn't flow? Agriculture's safe, that's what they say. It's what they always say. That's enough, that's enough. Can't take away anymore. That's enough, that's enough. The EPA and the Corps, they will try to justify, but we won't back down. Don't need more government anyway. That's enough, that's enough. No more power play. That's enough, that's enough. We won't back away. What can we do to ditch the rule? Tell the EPA. Don't need more government anyway.
Tell the EPA it's time to ditch the rule. Ditchtherule.fb.org. This is a message from the Missouri Farm Bureau. Contact them at 573-893-1558.
How would you like to make your work more enjoyable, be more creative and relaxed, all while sitting at your desk? That's exactly what my Serenity rug has done for me. This revolutionary footrest, I can't even call it a footrest because this thing encourages movement of your feet, which results in more blood flow. While traditional footrests advocate the motionless placement of your feet, I found that I'm unconsciously digging my feet into the long, soft grass strands of the Serenity rug. It delivers an incredibly relaxing sensation that closely resembles the feeling of an exotic foot massage. If you have ever had a foot massage that made you want to stay there for hours, you know what I'm talking about. If you have not heard about the Serenity Rug, check them out at serenityrug.com and join the exclusive Serenity Rug community and enjoy a feeling of comfort and relaxation that most will never experience. They've sold out before, so I suggest you do your feet a favor and grab one of these. Again, that's serenityrug.com.
I like the way you grow it, no pesticide. I got to box it up. Yeah. I like the way you grow it, so locally. I got to box it up. I like the way you grow it with no GMOs. I like the way you twerk it, no diggity, no doubt.
We've got squash and peas, pollinator bags for all your bees. Melons you'll wanna squeeze. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hey, now that plant looks good. I want to grow it. I want to taste it. Yeah. Tomatoes in full effect. Always in full effect. My girl Tilly's in full effect. Yeah. Peaceful Belly Plant Sale 2014. Yeah.
Search YouTube for Freaks of the Garden. PeacefulBelly.com. Support your local organic farmers.
There are a lot of problems with Common Core. I don't even have time to go into most of them, but a step in the right direction would be to give local communities, teachers, parents control over their schools so they can design curriculums and standards to best meet the needs of their students and get the federal government out of education.
U.S. trade negotiators are pushing to complete the TPP this year. They're trying to keep it under the radar. Best way to stop the TPP is to drag it into the light of day. Right now, negotiators have appointed approximately 600 corporate lobbyists to serve as cleared advisors on the TPP, while refusing to release any of their negotiating proposals for public review. The corporate media is unlikely to inform the public about the TPP. We need to do it ourselves.
All right, everybody, we are back from commercial. We are here in the studio with our special guest, Dr. Jill Diaz. Jill, thank you so much again for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So, all right, let's get right back into it. So, I know that chiropractic is supposed to assist with fertility somehow, but I don't understand how that's supposed to work. Can you give me a little bit more insight on how chiropractic has anything to do with fertility? I'm just curious. I understand being pregnant and getting the baby out, but the fertility part, I'm confused.
It goes back to just the primary purpose of chiropractic, and it's to help that nerve innervation function optimally. And so you have it just the uterus itself, again, and getting that innervation properly. But also has to do with hormones and how the adjustments can affect those. Because again, it's the adjustment that helps with that innervation. It's going to help with everything to function properly.
Okay.
It's not just one thing or the other. Again, there's no button. If you're having fertility, we adjust this vertebra and that's it. And it's a whole body system. So a lot of times you go to a chiropractor, they adjust you head to toe. It's going to be no different for fertility. There's going to be different things that we work on a little bit more. But again, we're trying to get your thyroid, make sure your thyroid is functioning properly. We want obviously your uterus to be functioning properly. All that kind of stuff. And that's where you kind of go more into, you got to have a little bit more nutrition help and stuff with that as well. Acupuncture is great, again, for fertility. And they're not just going to be treating your uterus. They're going to treat your whole body and make sure your whole body is functioning properly. And that's the same thing with chiropractic. We just want everything to function optimally so your body can do what it needs to.
Isn't that the point? So your body is already a very well designed machine. It knows what it needs to do. So you just have to give it the right what's the word that I'm looking for? you know everything that it needs so it can just do what it needs to do.
A lot of chiropractors say the power that made the body heals the body. Started off as a cell, and we have this innate intelligence that allows us to grow into a human being, a fully functioning human being. And so that doesn't just stop once we're born. It doesn't just stop functioning. So, if you have a cut on your hand and you put a Band-Aid on it, the Band-Aid doesn't cure it, your body does. And so that innate intelligence to heal that wound, power that made the body heals it. So if it's restricted in any way, that power can't fully function. And so we want to let everything control and let the body do what it needs to do.
Because the body is always trying to put itself back in the perfect balance. Cool. Okay. Well, I know that you had mentioned that you just got back from a conference and you were learning a whole bunch of stuff. And I think this would be a good time to talk about the epigenetics because it does have to do with prior to the pregnancy. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and how it works?
So I've been slowly trying to develop kind of a fertility program in my practice. And I looked at different avenues of how to go about that. The doula that helped deliver, Marilyn, she also does a fertility massage. She does induction massages. She also does some fertility massages. She kind of got my head turning about what different ways that I can, from the chiropractic side, also improve that with nutritional supplementations and things like that. I go to this seminar a couple weeks ago now, and she talks about epigenetics, and it's just, one of those things where just the light bulb went on, and it's, it makes so much sense on how we can help not control just from the time the woman says, I want to get pregnant, but from actually before that, and how, chiropractic, looking at epigenetics, nutrition, all that kind of stuff, how can we build a house for that baby? So, figure your body as a house, and if it doesn't have any walls, if you don't have a good foundation, not a good place to bring a baby home to. So before you're even wanting to actually conceive, how can we create the best possible egg for that baby? The most nutritional dense, as far as epigenetics, what genes do we want turned on, which genes do we want turned off? And it's not even looking at just from the female aspect of it, because we also need a guy to help fertilize that egg.
We need them as well.
So we want, the sperm to be the best quality sperm as well. When you look at different studies that have been done, Duke University did a study about VPA. VPA. So VPA, it was, with RAC, obviously, and VPA is in everything. Anything that's plastic most likely is VPA or VPA-free, which the VPA-free, there's starting to be more studies about how that's affecting our genes as well. Or
just plastic in general.
Plastic in general.
It's everywhere.
Go back to the old days. Go back to the glass. And silicone is a great option as well. But this Duke University study looked at VPA and RAC and how they could help basically get that out of the genes. they noticed that the rats that were exposed to BPA could get pregnant but couldn't stay pregnant. And if they did, what does the genetic offspring look like? And that's where I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the MTHFR gene and folate. So there's folate and folic acid debate right now. Some people say yes, still use folic acid, it's great. And then other people are saying no, we need folate in our diet. We need folate in our multivitamins.
Right, and it's like everything. You need to get it from your food as much as possible.
Yeah, you're looking for whole food prenatal, not chemically engineered ones.
Exactly.
Our bodies just don't respond to the chemically engineered stuff the same as it does to something that's growing in nature. And so when they looked at these rats that were exposed to BPA and they gave them folate versus the folic acid, it actually reversed those genes in the sense that offspring and those moms were able to carry full, healthy pregnancies.
Wow.
So just looking at how our bodies methylate different things and like that, like the genes. So you can interest when I said about turning genes on and off.
Yeah.
Another thing we talked about in the seminar was the breast cancer gene. So they're doing a lot of studies on the breast cancer gene and what are people doing that, the whatever percentage it is, I don't know off the top of my head, the percentage of people that are actually getting cancer that have that gene. And I really think we need to look the other way around. What are the other percentage that have that gene are not getting cancer? What are they doing?
Exactly. What's the difference?
What are they eating? What are they being exposed to? What about their genes? What about their lifestyle is helping not get cancer?
Right.
What are they doing? And I can actually give you the definition of epigenetics because it's kind of a newer term.
Okay.
People are kind of starting to learn about it. But it's the study of how lifestyle factors, stress, diet, impact our inherited genetic makeup. And how does that play out within altering the genetic material itself? Your DNA is your DNA.
Right.
You're set with your DNA. You're not going to, by running every day, you're going to change your redhead into a brunette. Sure. That's your genes. Your genes are set. But there's certain genes that can be turned on and can be turned off.
Okay.
For instance, the breast cancer gene. Why is it turned off in some people, but it's turned on in others?
Right.
And seeing how our lifestyle affects that. So, the commercial where the lady walks in and she does like one rep of the bicep curl and she walks back out and they show her taking a pill. That's giving people it gives them the idea that we just take a pill and we don't need to work out and we don't need to eat right. I think she eats like a piece of broccoli, and this pill and this one piece of broccoli are equivalent.
That's all you need.
Yeah, and that's where we're kind of going in our mindset. And as the paradigm shifts to a more holistic approach, we're going to start realizing that pill is not going to be your answer to making yourself healthy.
Well, the pill is just causing more problems.
Well, that's
half of the problem that you already have.
So how can we change our lifestyle? Right. BPA, toxins,
Oh, yeah.
The amount of toxins that we have in our system, just in diet. We had somebody this week ask my husband about gluten. We have a functional medicine program that is a non-inflammatory diet. So there's no gluten in the diet. And he was asking, like, well, we've been eating gluten for, years, centuries now. And the problem is that gluten is not the same gluten of even 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It is a completely different type of grain.
Well, first of all, it's GMO.
And then it's GMO. So, and to find a plant, to find a plant nowadays that's not GMO is really almost impossible. And, it's got the pesticides on it so that there's no bugs and all that. And so we're looking at a completely different thing. And then let's also look at the fact that we eat so much processed food, especially here in America.
Oh, yeah.
Every kid is eating some sort of processed food daily. If not, there are some kids that eat it every single day, every single meal.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And
supplement with fast food.
Yeah, exactly. And gluten is in all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Look, start checking your labels and you realize Same thing as with soy. If you tell someone stop eating soy, well, I don't eat soy. Check your label.
Oh yeah.
Soy is in almost everything. It's
everything. It's
gluten and soy are
it's additive. Oh yeah.
It's to bulk stuff up. They don't have to put as much of anything nutritionally dense because they have gluten and soy in there to make it bigger. They can make more of it if they just have that in there.
Exactly.
And so when we're looking, if you just pull gluten out of your diet or pull non-GMO, organic types of foods, we put that into our system versus all the toxins.
Yeah.
Much better is our diet.
It literally makes a difference. And I'm going to tell you how I know because I, for the most part, eat pretty well. I went on vacation to the mountains, and all they had was one grocery store. And in that grocery store, they had like 2 organic things. They had organic apples. What else did they have? Organic apples, and I think like an organic pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I stuck to my mostly vegetarian diet. But literally, after a week of eating just conventional fruits and vegetables, I was so sick for like 2 to 3 weeks. It took a long time to process all the pesticides and stuff out of my body because I don't care how much you rinse it off.
Yeah.
If the food is growing in it and the roots or the pesticides are in the soil, then the roots are going to get it.
It's in the soil.
Yeah.
To find a truly organic food source at this point in the U.S. especially, it's really hard because our soil is just full of it. Our tap water is full of it. So
the air.
Yes, everything. If the guy a mile down sprays his field, your field is not now, perfectly organic.
Right.
And so I think how you get around that is have your own garden.
Right.
You can control more so what's in your garden, what's in your soil, than the farmer that has to mass produce the strawberries because there's so much demand for strawberries that he can't have a mass-produced amount of strawberries and have them organic. It is impossible. If you know anything about farming, it's impossible.
Right, for them to actually stay above water, feed their own families, and still make money.
Yes.
But it's good you said that because I think a good way to contribute back to the community, contribute back to the small farmers, and make sure you're getting good food is doing a CSA. It's community-supported agriculture. Just Google it, see if there's one in your area because that's a really, really good way to, like I said, to give back to the local farmers. But then you can actually go to tours of the farms where your food is actually being grown.
Yes, exactly. You can see what's actually being put into your soil, put on your plants that you're going to be eating.
Yeah.
And you're supporting local, so that's just better for them.
Right. Well, and generally smaller farmers, they don't have the money to have the GMO crops. They don't have the money for like the serious pesticides that we're talking about. And they're smart and they know that all that stuff is bad and they don't want it next to the foods that they're going to be eating, right?
Yeah.
So they make sure that they put a lot of time and effort into making sure that it's good quality food.
Yeah. And also, like, the big farms as well, like, they're not doing crop rotation as often anymore. And so the strawberries that you are eating, they're not nutrients like they should be. And so you're just dealing with a horrible food source from anything, honestly, mass-produced.
I call it edible food-like substances.
For sure. And, I mean, how we look at how we have so much fertility issues right now. Or even just look at our kids. We have a lot of asthma, and we have ADHD and allergies. Like, every kid has something, Every single kid, you probably could narrow, they have an allergy or, they have ADHD or there's always something that almost every kid has now. Where is that? When we look at, like, fertility, is that affecting our kids as well because of what we're eating and what we're being exposed to before we're even pregnant? The eggs that we're forming are, how are we feeding them and making sure they're nutritionally dense and ready to create the best baby possible?
Yeah.
And it causes
Jill?
Yes.
Yeah, Jill, when you were speaking of the kids, how they have allergy nowadays, well, the fact that they have allergy nowadays shows what we are growing on this planet, because they're coming here in their new bodies. Of course, the genes are coming from us, those that've been eating or, putting ourselves through whatever conditions. Of course, the genes are coming from us, but they're still coming in the new body that's supposed to function just fine for the environment that the bodies are supposed to live. But they cannot, because they cannot adjust to this environment. They do have allergy about everything, against everything.
Nobody.
Yeah, and I grew up without any allergies. I did not know what it was. Like, I came, out of blue into this allergy type of world. So there is a big point to that, I think.
And I really think, the search for autism, the cause for autism, I think more and more people are going to start to realize there's no one source cause for autism. It's something way more complex than anyone wants to believe. There's no one source. It's not specifically any one thing for every single child that's been diagnosed with autism. It's an entire array of different things.
Right.
And that's really where epigenetics is trying to go with, is that can we stop some of the asthma? Can we take it out of their genes? One thing that the doctor at the seminar said, and it really is kind of a good way to look at it, that, the patient, I guess, was complaining, well, this is what my grandparents set me up for. This is the genes I've been given. And she, she said, but what you're doing right now is affecting your grandchildren.
Right.
So if we can start working towards making better genes and turning certain things off that we don't want on, if we can turn cancer off in our bodies, are we making it even better for our grandchildren down the road? Because it's just going to get worse as far as the chemicals and, mandatory vaccines and all this junk that we want to put into our bodies and expose our bodies to. It's only going to get worse. Right. And can we then create better for our children if we can start avoiding some of that now? And I think that's really where epigenetics, that's the core of it, is how can we affect our lives and our children's lives, but also into our grandchildren, and see, how can we get back to a society where allergies are not common in every kid, and autism is not 1 in 150 kids. And where can we finally start getting back to a healthy population versus a medically driven population?
I mean, it's so
important.
Right.
It's not just for a woman to be healthy, but it's also for a man. The creation happens from both sides.
Yep.
So, both people need to be healthy, or preferably to be healthy.
Yeah, it's so often it's seen as fertility is the woman's issue. And, just because the man can make sperm doesn't mean it's a high-quality sperm.
That's funny, because I've been seeing a lot of commercials when you watch TV late at night because the men aren't really doing their job. But then again, that's directly linked to a lot of the diet, too, because the soy is extremely estrogenic, and it's in everything.
Yeah.
I told my son that's where all the men are wearing skinny jeans, because all the soy.
So that's a theory. Really, dads need to look and see, how they can help as well. And it's not just the women, right? And, so poor quality sperm, you're not going to get a high quality, match with that egg, no matter how, high quality that egg is, right? So it needs to come both sides to change the genetics at all. It can't be one-sided for sure.
Okay. Well, all right, guys. Unfortunately, commercial break crept up on us again. It's time for a few more commercials. We will be right back shortly.
Solutions to delusions. How do you do this? Well, join me every Friday night on the Delusion Solution radio show from 6 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time
and 9 to 12 midnight Eastern Time right here on the Freedomizer Network, where we will be discussing and discerning the times by making sense of current events and bringing to light much-needed topics. Our calling number is 347-324-3704 to listen in. Watching with your ears and listen with your eyes. I'm your host, Tara Dawn, and I'll see you there.
Lindsay Williams on Freedomizer Radio.
Seems things are happening so fast now. And again, I want to thank you for the privilege of allowing me to be with your audience and with you tonight. Everyone out there in your listening audience, they should listen to you every single day. Don't you miss a program. Lord bless everybody. Set that spiritual house in order. It's the most important thing out there. Thank you, and good night.
Are you sick of being a chump, lied to by politicians and businessmen alike, watching as the world slowly burns, as trillions in debts racked up under your grandchildren's names? Hi, I'm Ben Lucifer Bernanke Cochran. I'm asking that you tune into my weekly radio show, The Patriot Power Hour with Lucifer Bernanke, each Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern on Freedomizer Radio. Look, I'm not trying to sell you anything here. I just need your help fighting these banks of scum. The sycophants behind all the wars, failed healthcare system. I mean, they own all the mega banks, all the mega corporations. They own the media, of course. They've already conquered most of humanity, really. And their juiciest final target, well, we're next. America's next. So I'm not going out without fighting. So join me Thursday as I use my background in finance and risk management to decode breaking news and developments, all while helping to prepare you and your family for the future waves of financial terrorism that are sure to come. Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on FreedomizerRadio.com.
There are reports that say sitting all day at work is just as unhealthy as smoking. There is a hot new health trend called earthing, where you leave your shoes at home and you go out for a walk in the park. However, most of us work all day. This is where Serenity Rug comes in. Serenity Rug is meant to let you feel the grass beneath your feet while you have to stay inside and get your work done. This revolutionary footrest encourages movement and blood flow so you can feel better while working. Relieves muscle tension, improves circulation at your own desk while you're working. Anyway, please check out SerenityRug.com. That's SerenityRug.com. Did you guys know that there's no such state in the United States that requires shoes to be worn while driving a car? Did you also know that there is no such health code requiring shoes to be worn while going into a store or eating in a restaurant? And the thing is that most people think there are laws in relation to this, and this is about freedom. This is about your personal freedoms on what you choose to wear or not wear in this case. So Sierra Larson hosts the Barefoot is Legal show, where you can learn about health benefits, laws that don't exist, as well as more activism in relation to this. And most people in the U.S. are brainwashed. They think there's a requirement to wear shoes to do anything outside. So the whole United States wears flip-flops because they want to not wear shoes, but they think it's against the law. So Sierra Larson will teach you more on that. The show is on Saturdays, Barefoot is Legal Radio. That's 10:30 a.m. to noon Pacific. That's 1:30 to 3 Eastern. Only on Freedomizer Radio.
Got a spare tire around that waist? Is your muffin top over the top? Do you binge eat uncontrollably? We are the government, and we are here to help you. Here at our free FEMA weight loss camp, we have numerous ways to help you shed those unsightly, unwanted pounds. FEMA, or Fatties Eating Mitigated, automatically has a communist-style weight loss czar that specializes in centralized weight loss planning and communal extended fasting programs to shed that fat away in no time. Skin and boned means extra toned is the motto. Just remember, there is no way you can do it on your own. We will forcefully assist you into compliance. Failure is not an option in this utopian wonderland. How fantastic. Typical workout regimes include digging ditches and restocking them with dirt, building railways and more. Get life skills while you get lean. How do you join? Simple. Recite the Constitution in a public commons or violate the Patriot Act that includes simple misdemeanors. It's really that easy to get your own fenced-in slice of Americana. Stop being a fatty. The state is your daddy.
Hey everybody, we're back from commercial. All right, well,
I love commercial. It's one of my favorite commercials.
I know. The state is your daddy.
Daddy. Oh yes. I love it. It makes me want to dance.
It is so true. But, all right. We only have a little bit more time for you, Jill, so I'm going to ask you a little bit about infant chiropractic. So, all right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of my story again. So, my son, we're all natural. We don't use any medications. We don't go to doctors. Actually, you're where we measure the baby's weight. So we can. Yeah, you are definitely my primary therapist. But anytime he's had any type of allergies or congestion, which has been like just a couple of times, he's come in for adjustments to help with that. It's funny because last time I was in the office, there was a lady, and she was like, "Does your son get adjusted?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, "It's not like they beat him up or anything. It's a little bit different than the adult adjustment, which they don't beat you up, but sometimes it's interesting. My son would actually probably beg to differ. But he has to be managers because he always does something dumb. But anyways, it's always basketball or football related. But I explained to her, I was like, it's just small adjustments. I don't know exactly what it is that's happening, but it always helps with his congestion. And maybe if you could give us a little bit more information about what infant chiropractic is, how it works, why it's safe, all that good stuff.
All right. It's the same as adult chiropractic. We're opening up that nervous system so it can function. The main thing with infants is they come out of the birth canal or they're delivered by C-section, which is not in a gentle way at all. I know a lot of people think, oh, baby C-section baby, it's a lot easier on the baby. It's not. They still get pulled out.
They yank them out.
Yeah. And so you're just thinking of baby going through the vaginal canal and having to get pushed out, just how much trauma that could be for a baby.
Oh, yeah.
And especially just in their neck. The different ways they could be pulled or twisted or turned as they're coming out. And how can that affect a number of different things? A simple adjustment, as soon as you feel comfortable with it with the baby. My goal with my second baby was supposed to be to literally birth her in the tub, put her on my chest, and adjust her. Plans never work out that well, and so I didn't get that option. But she had to wait a couple of days till I felt a little bit better. But I've treated the baby as early as 14 hours old, and that was only because I had to go to the clinic for a full day before I could get to the baby. Otherwise, mom wanted me there during the delivery at home.
Oh wow.
It just didn't work out. So 14 hours, it's never too early. Most kids that have a chiropractor for a mom or a parent, they get adjusted immediately after birth.
Oh wow.
It is 100% safe, gentle. The way I adjust is so easy. You would not even realize that I'm even adjusting the baby.
Yeah, you can barely see you're doing anything.
If you're checking the ripeness of a tomato, it's actually less pressure than that we're putting on, especially the newborn babies. With my pinky, it's barely any pressure. You're going to put more pressure on that baby, picking them up and changing their diapers than I do adjusting. So really, really safe. And again, it helps with that neurological system. So we have babies come in with torticollis, where their neck muscles are too tight. And that can be caused from birth. It can be caused from sitting one way or another. They always sit their head to the one side. That can affect breastfeeding big time. If you ever hear a mom that says, he nurses better on the left than he does on my right, they need their necks checked, because a lot of times a neck adjustment for those little babies and they're back to being able to turn their head both ways, which only helps improve mom's supply.
Right.
Because that one side, if he's not nursing as good, your supply is going to lessen. And so first and foremost, get the baby adjusted as soon as possible. Okay. The neurological system completely matures within the first 3 years of life. And you think of all the things that kids go through in their first 3 years of life. Every single milestone, they're crawling, rolling over, walking. When they start to walk and they're falling down that time, as an adult, if you fell that often, you for sure would be seeing some sort of professional trying to get that fixed, because you'd be in so much pain. Luckily, kids are amazing, and they're way more resilient than adults. They're essentially not big babies. But if anything causes a restriction and we don't get it treated, we're looking at things that could affect them later in life that their bodies just are not handling well, and it could have been an adjustment when they were babies. Like I said, it's from as soon as you can get them in, up and through adulthood, and it just becomes a wellness model care where the moms start coming and bringing their children when their kid has a cold versus taking them to the doctor who's just going to prescribe them antibiotics, because that's what we do.
Well, and not only that, one of the reasons that I like coming to you is because it's not a sick place.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a pediatrician's office, everybody in there is sick and coughing and hacking, and they have those dirty little nasty toys that all the little germy children are playing with. And that's one of the main reasons that I don't want to go there. It's because I don't want to take my healthy child to a sick place.
Yeah, and that's what I need a good chiropractor as well. It's really important, because if there's something that the chiropractor sees that could be something that needs to be referred, you want to have a good chiropractor that's not afraid or not too proud to refer to another professional.
Right.
And so you want to make sure that your chiropractor isn't saying, well, I can fix everything and I can cure everything.
Right.
Modern medicine can be great, and so you want a doctor who's also going to be looking for different things that can be wrong.
Right.
As well. You don't want a chiropractor to think they're one and only. But ear infections. I have 2 little girls. Neither of them had ear infection at all. Not even beginning the start of. I have quite a few little ones in my practice that I've seen from pregnancy throughout, and now I'm getting to see their siblings. And those kids don't have ear infections. They don't have the allergies. They're not sick like our kids are. And it's showing what chiropractic can do. It can lead your child to being healthy versus having to deal with all the antibiotics and all the different pills that we can prescribe a child. And like I said, it's good all the way through adulthood. When your kids start getting into sports, again, that's high contact. Even my 5-year-old soccer, you'd be surprised how many times, they get hit by a ball, or they get knocked down by somebody else. Just getting adjusted can be so beneficial. And it's not, I know chiropractors get the bad rap of the 2 to 3 times a week, for, the rest of your life. Pediatrics is not needed every single week sometimes. Get checked once a week, get checked once a month, whatever you feel comfortable with. But they need to be checked on a regular basis, making sure everything is in good alignment so that nervous system can function and help kids out. I have kids come for concentration. They can't concentrate, ADHD type of stuff, and chiropractic helps calm that nervous system so that those kids aren't just on that fight or flight 24/7.
Right.
It really helps relax that nervous system and allow the children to learn and to really take in everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's so funny. Like I said, my 15-year-old, well, he's not 15 yet. I'm going to be 15 now. But my 14-year-old goes, and he gets adjusted, and I go, my little one goes, so it's definitely good for the whole family. And so, of course, it's good for everybody in the family to be in alignment.
I think so. Definitely.
So, okay, Jill, this has been awesome. We only have a few minutes left, so I want you to give our listeners, like, the last few words, and then also give them your information so they can contact you if they want to make an appointment or have questions.
Okay. All right. I am in the Northern Virginia area. I have offices in Manassas and also in Chantilly. I also have, if anyone's interested, I have Pathways groups that meet once a month in both locations. If you're kind of a like-minded mother or father like me, you might be interested in coming to the meeting. We just discuss conscious parenting and better ways that we can kind of navigate through this world. And sometimes it's good to have a tribe with you so that you can help navigate better. So finding your tribe is such a big thing. And like I said, I have offices in Manassas and Chantilly. If you're interested in scheduling with me, you can either call us at 703-369-2019. You can also email me. It is drjilldiaz@gmail.com, drjilldiaz@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm pretty common on Facebook. My name is just Dr. Jill Diaz DC on Facebook. So definitely find us. If you have any questions, I'm always available. Like I said, if you're uncertain about coming in and you really want to try it out, or you just want to kind of see what it's about, I'm more than welcome to meet up with you and talk. My husband does a lot of videos on YouTube, adjusting adult. I have one child video on there. I believe she's 10. And I'm about to do some of the younger kids, so you can see what an adjustment looks like. Can do some pregnancy videos as well and show you kind of what I do, so you can kind of have that ahead of time. I don't know, is there anything else that you can?
No, that's great.
Good.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Thank you so much for all of your information.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jill.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
And so now we'll get into kind of the homework tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Well, it's funny because I've been sitting here trying to figure out what the homework should be. I was bad. I didn't come up with homework beforehand. I'm going to be totally honest. And I was thinking after talking that, and we've kind of done this homework before, but I think it's really important that we figure out whatever a concern or maybe an ailment that you might have, looking at alternate ways that you can address it, right? Oxana, do you think that's a good idea?
Well, to be 150% honest, that is exactly what I was thinking.
Okay,
you're blowing my mind. Actually, yeah, we don't have to talk anymore. We can just read each other's mind. Yes, that's exactly what I was thining, because in my example, I've done acupuncture and I've benefited from it, and I've never done chiropractic treatment. And I've had my friends telling me about their, practitioners to recommend, and I'm like, yes, I will do it. I just haven't gotten to the point of doing it. And I was thinking to propose not necessarily something just about chiropractic treatment, but also all ranges of healing.
Any alternate form of medicine that someone's saying, hey, this is what you have to do. You have no other choice. You have to have this operation or take this pill, or there's nothing I can do for you. Definitely look into other forms. There's sometimes herbs can help. Sometimes you can see a chiropractor. Sometimes you can see an acupuncturist. Sometimes you can go to a massage therapist. There's so many different things you can do.
Right. You just never know, because sometimes, yes, if you've had it for a long time, it potentially will be more challenging. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to work, because you simply don't know if you don't try it. So,
exactly.
And if you don't heal what you're trying to heal, you may actually heal something else. Yeah. So, but also, so pretty much, yeah, I agree with you. That would be fabulous homework to have, to look at any problems and choose one and approach with an alternative healing style method.
And the reason for that is you can consciously look at your situation and you can make an educated decision.
Right. Yes, I agree. Well, fabulous. We'll just do that. But you know what I was thinking while we were discussing the the chiropractic treatment with Jill is how everyone needs to be healthy before they have children. You know, and because in my head, I was going to ask Jill, well, what is the time frame that you would like to start getting healthy before having a child? And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. You just simply have to be healthy because there is no time to prepare for it.
It's all a number on that, actually. 120 days is how long it takes for an egg to mature. So you have 120 days to really give yourself the best possible health. And then after that is when you want to start really, trying to get pregnant. Take that first 120 days to work out all the kinks you have in your diet, get on nutritional supplements, everything. It's that 120 days is how long it takes for an egg to mature. And so those 120 days while that egg is maturing is the genes that you're allowing for your child. The dad has actually 2 cycles within that 120 days, so they get an even better chance at awesomeness. So 120 days for that egg to mature. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so what does that entail? Does that entail like a detox process or? Sorry, we have a few more minutes.
Not necessarily detoxing. Just by eating healthy, and I'll get into a little bit of glyco-nutrition, stuff like that with my mom. But just essentially by eating healthy and reducing all of the toxins, your body's going to naturally detox. You don't you don't need to do a cleanse, all these amazing cleanses that they have nowadays. Really just start eating healthy. Your body will cleanse itself, right, if you are not putting toxins continuously back in there.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point, as your body does.
Yeah,
everything.
It's a natural push.
Just stop putting crap in it, and it'll be just fine.
Your body works.
Exactly.
Eventually the last of the crap will come out, right?
Yeah.
And you'll start operating on a healthier nutrition. On nutrition, actual nutrition.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Well,
wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jill, for the information.
I'm glad we had you on. So, we have a few more minutes. So I wanted to just put a little message out there for everyone that signed up for our detox retreat this summer. I'm so excited because we put the deposit down and the house is all ready, so everybody's going to have a great detox experience. If you haven't signed up, it's too late. Sorry, all of the spaces are full. But if you did sign up, I'm really excited. It's going to be great. Are you as excited as I am, Oxana?
I am extremely excited. We finally finalized something today, so yes, I'm very excited.
I know. It's always nice when you click that button and it's real and it's actually going to happen. And now I can't wait for it to happen. Only a month left.
Yes. Cannot wait. Looking forward to it.
Well, all right. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Thank you, Dr. Jill, for being on.
Thank you very much, Jill.
Thank you. I have a blast.
Yes, and Miss Oxana, if you could, please give us our outro music.
Yes. Have a good night, everyone. Fabulous week ahead, and we will chat with you next Sunday. Good night. Ciao.
Hey.
Smile of Jack,